Good morning, Rabbi Isai. First of all, a tremendous mazel tov to our dear Haber, Menachem Mateh. His son became a chassan to who? Chana? From Rabbi Shemesh. No, does the father go to Daf? Slowly. No. All right, Mazel Tov. If you want to know what Menachem Mateh is, he's very nichbal like Kalim, but he used to give shiurim back in the day, going back as far as Nida. He was the Magid when there was no time to prepare. He's the one that gave the shiur. If there was time to prepare, we would ask Noam, but on the spot, Magid huh? No. When I gave him a 2-hour notice or an hour notice, Rabbi Isai, Jonathan Itzkowitz, he quoted the Mishnah Berurah where it says that it's an aver to learn during Chazal Shat. Since I joined the Daf Yomi, I've made so many changes for the better, and his mamish changed my life. There's been one change, however, that I found the hardest. Since I first heard you mention back in Pesachim, I try to make the conscious effort to not learn during Chazal Shat. I want you to know, did I say this over? Because I asked the Shat. No, I asked the question, what would you do if you found out that you're a guy? And what did I say? Learn. I try to make a conscious effort to not learn the Chazal Shat. I want you to know that this has, without question, been the hardest change for me and continues to be, especially in Shabbosim, when you show up to Shul and there's so many Torah pamphlets to choose from in Shul. Even though it's been over 2 years since I stopped, I still get it's a horror to peek at some of the different Torah during Chazal Shat, and then I have to control myself. When I do get the urge, I'm reminded of the famous story of Remelech of the Zensk and his brother Zisha Van Apoli were locked up in prison with a bucket of foul-smelling liquids in the room. They're not able to learn. They were very upset until they realized that just as it's a mitzvah to learn Torah, there are times that you can't, and that is equally a mitzvah. So thank you for showing me that there are times that you can feel Hashem's will by not learning Torah and earning schar just the same. Yochanan Itzkowitz. P.S. My kids want to know when I will be removing the water fountain from the bathroom. In other words, that was another thing he got from the shiur. We're not going to go into it. When we learn Hilchos Beis Hakisei, we'll talk about it again. He doesn't even know what it is. And he's like, good evening, your belly. A few weeks ago, I started teaching a new Kita 12-year-olds. As always, I gave out a questionnaire so the boys can give me some information about themselves. One of the questions was, what do you want to do when you leave yeshiva? I was astounded to read one boy's answer. I want to finish Shas. The next day, when I complimented him in class, the others called out with MDY. Seems his father is a regular. I should have expected it. Hatzlacha Refuah Groskov. This is from Eved Hashem, and he has an interesting Eved Hashem email. I just wanted to specifically thank you for the Shnayim Mikra. In addition to the daily shiur, of course, since I got it, I keep it in my office. He's talking about the Chumash. And every morning I take 6 to 7 minutes to do that day's portion. Then on Friday I get to finish the parsha properly with, like halacha, with my own copy I have at home. Thanks, Eved Hashem. Struli down. Dear Rebelli and Nachman, I came down to RBS for 4 days. You guys haven't stopped fighting from the day I came until the day I left. I have a peaceful resolution to this ongoing conflict. There's no peaceful resolution between me and him. Nachman seems to be bothered by the word campaign. We can remarket this as don't talk during Kaddish awareness. This should keep Nachman's fears on the campaign at bay, since we were just making the Olam aware that speaking during Kaddish is a serious offense. I very much enjoyed having had the opportunity to be there live for all the shiurim while I was in Eretz Yisrael. Thank you again for all you do. It's really down. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but the Shaila was, what do you do with the $5,000 that the guy gave? How do you use that? So I had a great idea. I forgot to mention it and to talk it over with Yossi Klein, who told me about the $5,000. My idea is, I'm telling Yossi right now, Barabim, my idea is we should give out, let's say, $2,000 for the person who comes up with the best graphic design for this campaign. And maybe like another $1,000 for the person who comes up with the best slogan. Another $1,000 for the person who writes the best piece on it. And for the last $1,000, we'll just advertise it somewhere. What are you, Taina?
I think we should use all the money for advertising.
No, but advertise what? We're making awareness. People will send in, this one will send in this picture, this guy will send in that picture. We'll make awareness. Then we'll have a nice slogan. And then...
You should just have Lachlukas looking at you talking during Kaddish.
So you're saying Yoshi will win the award. Hey, what happened here? Oh, something happened. What? Well, two people were mechav in a picture of Nachman. It should be Nachman saying, "Don't talk during Kaddish." Wow. All right, Rabbi, so here's the question of the day. I wrote down another one, but it got lost somewhere. Let me see what the question was. I just wrote it down.
He's saying pay Nachman $2,000. I'm going to join the campaign.
The water source starts in your city. The Rabbi said it goes like this. It's a very interesting shayla. You have water, it starts from you. The well starts by your house. And you have enough to drink, Baruch Hashem, but you want to do laundry. If you do laundry, your neighbor next door will die. What do? Huh?
Depends on the neighbor.
No, so if it depends on the neighbor, even if you don't have to do laundry, Huh? There's only a little, it trickles out. If you take the water for your laundry, the neighbor won't have any water. We're going to see that there's a shita that says, let the neighbor die. Oh, it's not mamish, because the Gemara is going to explain that you not doing laundry, you're going to die. You don't have thing. What was my other question? Real quickly, I'm trying to think. Okay, I don't remember. I wrote it down, but I guess I wrote it down on another slide somewhere. The Koilel is sponsored by Anonymous from Lakewood. The Koilel, again, another sponsor, is supporting Torah, strengthening our bitachon. The Masechta in Zgul Katorvin Tומכיה כיעקב ויעל Linishmas Zecharya ben Moshe, Refuah Shelama, David Tzvi ben Faiga Chaya, and Avraham Eliyahu ben Chaya, Refuah Shelama. The art is sponsored for complete Refuah for Chaim Tzvi ben Leah. Also, official sponsors 3 names. Wife and son and daughter-in-law of a good friend. Chana Riva Bas Yehuda Selka is the wife. The son, Shlomo ben Chana Riva. And the daughter-in-law, Bas Yeracha, Bas Nechama. You should all have a refuah. Don't forget, mdycm.com for the upcoming siyumim. Do we have a place yet in Miami? Almost. We should have a place by January 25th. Yivaldik. Okay. Rabbi Isai, here we are. We are on Daf Ayin Tes Amud Beis. 6 lines from the bottom. Now, if you look at the Mishnah, these are the Nedarim that can be Mayfair, Nedarim that have Inui Nefesh. Things that are painful for the body. Im erchatz v'im loy erchatz. If I shower, I bathe, and if I don't bathe. Im iskashet v'im loy iskashet. If I put on makeup, don't put on makeup. So that's really what we call a t'nai. T'nai. If I do this and this, then something's going to happen. So you see, we have 2 things here. We have a t'nai, which is a condition, and a neder, which is, I don't know if you have a better word, a consequence, or maybe something else. We have blue on the right and red on the left. Blue on the right is a t'nai. It's very simple, and we went through this many, many times. If I do this, is the t'nai. What's going to happen? So for the rest of my life, I won't be able to do X, Y, Z. That's the consequence. But the Mishnah doesn't tell us the consequence. The Mishnah starts off saying, if I bathe, then what? Okay, if you bathe, what? You're going to smell good? You're not going to be able to take a shower for the rest of your life? You're going to get divorced? What? What happens? You didn't say. You didn't explain anything. So Gemara is now going to go explain what happened there. Imerchatz, v'im lo erchatz. So let's focus on imerchatz. Says the Gemara, Heichi kamar, kamra. We have to be goyers here. What did she say? Ilema da amra koinam peris olam alai. Oh! You know what the neder was? You know what the consequence was? The consequence was she won't get to eat fruit. Oh, now I understand. if I bathe, that's the t'nai, then the neder will be, I won't get to eat fruit. Oh, that's very painful. That's the inyan nefesh. Not being able to eat fruit is a problem. Now, what's interesting, at this step of the Gemara, without asking questions why and how is it possible, the Gemara understands that not bathing is not inu nefesh. What is inu nefesh? Not being able to eat something. Not bathing, no. We know people have gone their entire lives without bathing. It's not a big deal. You don't understand it, go break your head in the wall. That's what the Gemara understands right now. The Gemara is going to switch soon. But for now, it's not a inu. Ask the Gemara, okay. So we have a t'nai that's very, very painful. The red is very painful. The blue is not painful. The blue is the condition. If I will bathe, then I'll have something very painful. I'll have to jump off the roof and break my feet. So don't do the condition. So don't take a bath. What's the problem? What are you worried about? The red, you're worried that you're going to have a very painful life of not eating fruit. If you do X, Y, so don't do what you said. The whole thing is, if not bathing is not a problem, we said. Not bathing is not an inui. So don't bathe. Don't bathe. And you won't have an issue of eating nefesh. You won't have an issue of not eating fruit. You'll be able to eat as much fruit as you want your entire life. You'll smell a little bit, but that's not a problem because it's not such an inui to smell a little bit. Lama la'afara. Why is her husband allowed to be mefer the blue, the neder, the t'nai? The t'nai is not a big deal. Let her not smell good, and she'll be able to eat fruit as long as she wants. She won't have to do the neder. Loy tirchatz, she shouldn't bathe. V'loy tasrum peris olam. Hello? That's question number one in the halacha part. Now I have another question. If that's the pshat, right? We didn't know what the neder was. We didn't know what the consequences. Now you're telling me the consequence is fruit. We're going to go away from that. But let's say the consequence is a inu nefesh fruit. Well, the lashon doesn't make sense. Void b'halei Rabbi Yossi ein elu nidre inu nefesh. Now, Rabbi Yossi agrees that not eating fruit is an inui. So why would he say that it's not an inui? Look at Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi says, "Oh, it's not an inui." It is an inui. Not eating fruit is an inui. That's not the point. Maybe he's arguing that she won't break the t'nai, she will do the t'nai. But in terms of the lashon is not correct, because if we're talking about something that's very painful, even Rabbi Yossi agrees that the neder part, the consequence part, is painful. So why would he say in the Mishnah, the top words in this Amud, Amar Rabbi Yossi, Ein elu nidre inu nefesh. This is not a neder, this is not a consequence that has pain and affliction. It is. It's very painful not to eat fruit. If I'm talking about the t'nai, then I understand. The t'nai is not painful. It's not so terrible if you smell a little bit. And you don't take a bath your entire life. Whatever the reason is. But don't tell me a lashon of ein elu nidrei inu nefesh. Don't talk about the red part. Don't think about the nether part and tell me that's not an inu, because that you have to agree. Again, according to you, we didn't know this about fruit. We just introduced a new thing. There's something called fruit. It's not mentioned in the Mishnah. The Mishnah talks about bathing. But the Gemara adds that the bathing is connected to not eating fruit for the rest of your life. If that's the case, that's painful according to everybody, and even Rabbi Yossi should admit that it is a neder of inu nefesh, and he says in the beginning of the top of this Amud that it's not a neder of inu nefesh. So the lashon is off.
Why did the pizza issue get tied with Tevila? If she says she won't bathe, she can't go to the mikveh.
So the Gemara is going to say something similar in a second. If she bathes, then what happens? Then she has to be Mekayim the neder. The consequence is she can't eat fruit for the rest of her life. Not eating fruit for the rest of her life is considered a Yinun Nefesh. Oh, says the Gemara in Daf Yomi Amud Aleph, you can leave this chart on, it's Givaldik, don't worry about it. Ve'elo da'omra, koinam hanoas rechitza alai, la'oilam imerchatz. So Gemara says, okay, forget about introducing a new concept called fruit. We're talking about bathing, and let's stick to bathing. So we know the condition. The Mishnah tells us the condition. The condition is, if you bathe, what's going to happen? Very interesting. If you bathe, you'll never be able to bathe again in the rest of your life. Oh, so what happened here? Now the Gemara makes a switcheroo. Take your pencil right. We're making a switch. A second ago, we were saying that it's not so painful not to take a bath for the rest of your life. Now we're saying no, 100%. It's it's a terrible thing. People can't survive without taking a bath the rest of their life. It's Yinun Nefesh. So what did she do? It's almost like, somebody's going on a diet. He says, I'm going to eat like my last meal. I'm going to go to the restaurant. We actually did that. I'm just thinking now, people, he's not here today. He's not feeling so well. Well, there's people that had the surgery, right? So right before the surgery, we went to all you can eat. What is it called over there in Yerushalayim? Papagayo, and they fresh the last fresh. Okay. You know what? Here's your last shower. So your last shower. You decide when you want it. You could, if you decide, if you're going to live, let's say for 50 years, I would recommend you take it in 25 years from now. So you take one shower, but then the clock starts ticking again. You can't take a shower for the rest of your life. As soon as you take the shower, that's 100% mutter for you to take, then the clock starts ticking, you can never take a shower again. So you have one last shower, one good shower, before you can't take any showers again, one last meal before you can't eat ever again. That's what happened there. So she said, Koinam hanoas rechitzolai loylam imerchatz. You ask me, what does the word imerchatz mean? So I'm telling you, I'm making a neder. If I bathe, then I can never bathe again. No, so it's a good idea, like to keep that one shower for very hot Chamsin day in Eretz Yisrael, after you ran after the bus, whatever. Then you take the shower, then it goes into effect again. Fine. And that's why the husband has all the right in the world to do Afaras Nedarim. Because what's happening here? She's having a Yinun Nefesh. Now we just said again, Rabbi said, we're going back, that not bathing is an Inui. It's an affliction, it's a terrible, painful thing. So she's stuck here. If she bathes, then the neder is going to go into effect and she'll never be able to bathe again. Not doing the t'nai is also painful. Because if she doesn't do the t'nai, which is, I will bathe, then she didn't bathe. She's not bathing until she bathes. So not bathing is a inui. So in Marashach, she has a problem here. That's why the husband steps in as mefer her neder. That's why he's allowed to be mefer. Techitavid. If she bathes immediately the neder goes into effect. And if she doesn't do rechitza, in other words, she doesn't want to do the t'nai, she doesn't want to do the condition because she knows that if she does the condition, the neder, the consequences is going to go into effect, so she doesn't do the condition. But that itself is a problem, not doing. Sheval Tais over here is a terrible thing. Why? Should become disgusting without rechitza. I once heard, I don't know if it's emes, that the milkman in Yerushalayim, there's a milkman in Yerushalayim, every morning he would take like a bottle of vinegar, pour it over himself. Why? Because he wanted all the people to put the bottles of milk outside the door. He had enough of this banging on the doors. Can I have my bottles of milk? So he came up with a pshat. If you open up the door, you're going to get hit with this terrible odor. Lo yerchatz. So he poured a bottle of vinegar, and then from then that day on, everybody behaved, and they put all the bottle. Okay, whatever. It passed for certain people. Rabbi Yossi Savar. And so what does he argue? He says, no, the husband cannot be made for. Why? Don't worry about it. She doesn't. This nether consequence is not going to go into effect. Why? Because we're not so concerned. She doesn't have to do the t'nai. Because at the end of the day, we're not so concerned about nivel. Listen, if that's the case, it should say, Rabbi Yossi, again, the Gemara is talking about the lashon here. The lashon is difficult. The language in the Mishnah. Rabbi Yossi Omer Tnai. It should say. Rabbi Yossi Omer Tnai Zeh Ein Boy Mishum Inu Nefesh. You just told me that I'm not concerned about the consequence because she doesn't have to do the Tnai. She can do Sheva al Taisa. In other words, where Rabbi Yossi focuses is on the right side, on the blue, on the condition. He's not concerned about the consequence. He's talking about the condition. The condition of her not bathing is not the end of the world, says Rabbi Yossi. So just let her not bathe. She won't become menuvel. But that's not what it says in the Mishnah. Top line on Ayin Tes Amud Beis. Omer Rabbi Yossi, Ein elu nidrei inu nefesh. He's addressing the red, the nether, the consequence. He should be addressing the blue, the tnai, the condition. Yachi, listen, Yachi, Rabbi Yossi, Omer tnai zeh ein boy mishum inu nefesh. So, the Ran just explains a little more. He says, it's mashma in the Gemara that if the nether doesn't have an inui, because the nether doesn't have an inui, that's why he can't be mefer. Mashmas is the Ran. If the nether did have an inui, Rabbi Yossi would admit you could be mefer. Just throwing something out there to confuse it. The Ran does it, so I'll just say over the Ran. The Ran says you could infer, you can make a diuk. The reason why you can't be mefer is because there's no inui in the nether. Was mashma that there was an inui in the nether, you could be mefer. But that's not true because we already saw from the fruit case, which is the nether part, if the nether was fruit, and that's an inui, you could be mefer. Okay. Says the Gemara, Ella, so what is the case here? And this is what the Gemara is going to stick with. For now, a little bit. Some of it. Ella the Amra Hanas Rechitza Laila Oilam. The nether is a very terrible nether. It lasts her entire life. The condition, the Tnai, is very simple. It's a very easy one. Imerchatz Hayoim. We're going to one day. It's a one-day deal. So that's the Shaila, really. It's almost like a machlokes between Americans and Israelis. I'm not kidding, we had this in the Koilel. The Israelis in the Koilel couldn't believe that Americans don't shower every day. Like it's a thing by America, every other day is fine. What? They're going crazy. The Israelis, I don't know, the ones that I know, shower every day, 3 times a day. I have some friends in America shower 4 times, that's a different thing. Okay, fine. So, is one day considered an inui or not? No, you can get away without showering every day. So, Rabbi Yossi savar nivel de chad yoyma loy shmei nivel. So before we were asking how come it doesn't say the tnai, the blue, right? That was the question before. How come you don't say the tnai is not an inui? Because there's no inui in the tnai. There's no inui in the tnai. It's only one day. One day of not showering is not a big deal. But the nether, that's the chiddush. The big chiddush here is, why does Rabbi Yossi say, let's go back. Top line, Ayin Tes Amud Beis. Omer Rabbi Yossi, Ein elu nidrei inui nefesh. How come it doesn't say here, Ein elu tnai inui nefesh? You know why? Because it's not an inui nefesh, not to shower for one day. But what does he say? Here's a huge chiddush. This for everybody in this room would be a major chiddush, which we mentioned. Not bathing your entire life, says Rabbi Yossi, ein elu nidrei inu nefesh. That's not considered a inu nefesh. Not eating food is a inu nefesh. Not bathing? No. Oh, now I remember my question. I wanted to ask before the shiur. If a person bathes on Yom Kippur, I think everybody knows the answer, but it's interesting to think about. If a person eats food on Yom Kippur, what happens to him? Chorus. There's 5 inuyim on Yom Kippur. If a person bathes on Yom Kippur, what happens to him? Not chorus? Why not? It's one of the 5 inuyim. Huh? Only according to Rabbi Yossi, it's not a inui. Chacham say it's a inui. One day, this. Okay. So let's see. That's part of today's daf, actually. 5. Rabbi Yossi saw nivel the chad yoyma loy shmei nivel. And the chiddush is that not only that, but nivel not showering the entire life is also not an inu nefesh. Daf Pei Amud Beis, sponsored by Greg Haber for Beracha Parnassa Hatzlacha for his entire family and everyone learning the daf. Also, Latzlacha for the members of the HBA Group and their families. Amen. So now we finished what it means imerchatz. Now we have to do the second line. Shanis imerchatz. We'll see in a second that according to the Ran and some Rishonim, it's not 100% that we answered that. That what? That if the t'nai is that if she bathes today, then she can't bathe for the rest of her life. So it's only a 1-day condition. Shanis imerchatz. So what's the other case? If I don't bathe, what happens? What is the neder? What's the consequence? If I don't bathe, then I won't be able to bathe for the rest of my life. Then why does the husband have to step in? Let her bathe. If she doesn't bathe, then she can't bathe for the rest. So bathe. Mishra in the Gemara is always like the smelliest type of liquid possible. It's water that you soak the cotton in, right? The flax. So it's very, very smelly water. Disgusting smelly water. So now, what happened? She was like in a sleepaway camp somewhere, married, a 12-year-old, and her husband sent away to sleepaway camp. She made a deer. She said, they dared her. You go into the Mishra water. She said, fine, I'll go into the Mishra water. She said, but you have to make a neder. We don't trust you. So, if you don't go into the Mishra water, then you're going to be also to bathe for the rest of your life. Why else would you? I'm just saying, this is the only case that comes to mind. It has to be a deer from Mother. Fine. Then what? If you don't do a terrible thing of smelling up yourself going into the Mishra water, then you're going to have to do another smelly thing, which is not to bathe the rest of your life. So now either way she grabs it, she has the inu nefesh. If she does her t'nai, which is mei mishra, disgusting. It's not bathing for 1 day. It's dipping into mei mishra water. The terrible thing. The other thing is not bathing for the rest of your life. So either way, the t'nai is terrible, the neder is terrible, both. There's no way out of this. So now the Gemara says, well, wait a minute. You're telling me imloy erchatz, if I don't bathe, means if I don't bathe in a terrible thing. So then take those exact words and put them in the next sentence. If I don't put on jewelry, but you're going to put on really terrible jewelry. So what's terrible jewelry? Again, it has to mimic. The lashon has to mimic every sentence. The first sentence is, we didn't understand like that. If I don't bathe, I thought it meant, when I read the Mishnah, if I don't turn on the shower, I'm going to refrain from bathing. Now the Gemara says, no. It means if I don't bathe in the worst of the worst, I'm going to dip myself in the worst of the worst. Okay, so now I have to take that lashon and bring it to the following sentence. If I don't put on jewelry, I thought it meant if I'm not going to put on makeup, I'm going to refrain from putting. No. According to what you just said, it means if I'm not going to put on the worst makeup possible. What is the worst makeup possible, says the Gemara? Imlo yaskash beneft. Here, picture time. If I don't bathe myself in gasoline, neft. What? And guess what? What's her name, Rabbi Isai? Lichluchis. Says the Gemara, Lichluchu. The mamash fits right in. You cannot call a kishut, an adornment, a piece of jewelry, something that's the opposite of jewelry. You can't say, it's impossible. It's impossible to say that not iskashet means I will use gasoline, I'll use neft. How do you say neft in English? Paraffin, I don't know, whatever it's called. Huh? Who? Kerosene. Kerosene is better. Okay. That's gasoline. It says over there, smell your best. Try our new and improved gasoline scent formula. Fine. People go there and they take a bath in gas. Fine. Amr Rav Yehuda, the Amra. Oh, so now the Gemara takes it back. The Amra Hanas Rechitza La'olam Olai Imerchatz Hayoim. We're going to go back to the original, what we said before. We're explaining what is Im Lo Yerchatz and what is Im Merchatz. Im Merchatz means the Amra Hanas Rechitza La'olam Olai Imerchatz Hayoim, as we said before. Just the Rishonim change it around. They take out the word Hayoim and it's La'olam. They say you don't have to say that anymore. You don't have to say the word Hayoim. Why? Because of the Hemshech of the Gemara. What's the second part? Im Lo Yerchatz is not a neder anymore. Okay, so all the Gemara is going to say is, we have two lines in the Mishnah. Im Merchatz, Im Lo Yerchatz. Im Merchatz is a neder. Im Lo Yerchatz is a shvuah. We're talking about two different things. We're not talking about two cases. We're talking about two separate things. A neder and a shvuah. That's the difference in the lashon. So, im doesn't mean if over here. It means I won't be roichetz. It's a shvuah. Only neder has a t'nai. If I do this and this and this, that. But when it comes to shvuah, there's no if I do this. There's no such thing. I can't do X, Y, Z. Fine. So since there's no t'nai, so when Rabbi Yossi says, what's the lashon over here? Rabbi Yossi, ein elu nidri nefesh. He's referring to both a neder and a shvuah. So Mela, the Rishonim take out the word hayoim. It's not again anymore hayoim, according to them. Some Rishonim. Shvuah shelo yiskashet. Fine. U'shvuah shelo yiskashet. Sorry. That's a neder. The second part, im lo yerchatz, means u'shvuah shelo yerchatz. I'm swearing that I won't bathe. And then we go to the next line. Hanas kishet l'ay lo'olam yiskashet hayoim. Again, we're talking about a neder when it comes to makeup, and we're talking about a shvuah of makeup. Wait a minute. Where in the Mishnah does it mention the word shvuah? You're making something up. If it's true that the Mishnah is talking about a shvuah, shouldn't the Mishnah start off saying Elu Nedarim ushvuas? Doesn't talk about shvuah at all. Says the Gemara, you're right. You have to stick that word in. Another pshat is, you don't have to be such a stickler to words. When I say nedarim, I mean shvuos also, and you see it in other places in Shas. The snan kinidre rishayim. It starts off. If a person points at a person, he has a nazir walking by him, and he looks at the nazir and he says, kinidre rishayim. I want to be like that guy, like a neder that a Russia does. It's not a very good lashon. It's a very weak lashon, but you and I understand what he's talking about. It's a yad. It makes sense what he's saying. And what if he looks at a loaf of bread and he says, Kinidri Shayim, this loaf of bread. So what is that called? That's called a shvuah. So here you have a case where a person says a neder, he uses the word neder, but in fact he means a shvuah. So the interchangeable, that's why it says Elu Nedarim. That's why our parak is called Elu Nedarim, and not Elu Nedarim u'shvuas, because a shvuah is a neder. It's not Kinidri Shayim. Another ben nazar ubekarben ube shvuah. He used the word nidri shayim, but he meant a shvuah. Givaldik. Okay, we're done. So now we understand the lashon of the Mishnah. Im merchatz, im lo yerchatz. Great. One is a neder, one is a shvuah. Rabbanan are the ones that say that not bathing is a terrible thing. It's an affliction. It's painful. So it says in the pasuk, here, inui nefesh. If you don't do inui nefesh on Yom Kippur, you chayiv kares. So if you don't do inui nefesh, in other words, you take a shower, which is the opposite. You're telling me that not taking a shower is inui. So taking a shower is the opposite of that. It's loisuna. So taking a shower on Yom Kippur should be v'nichrasa because it's loisuna. If you establish that not taking a shower is inu nefesh, not like Rabbi Yossi, you and I, everybody in this room hold that not taking a shower is inui. So taking a shower would be loy inui, loisuna. And then what would the punishment be? V'nichrasa. Not a single person in this room raised their hand and said that taking a shower in Yom Kippur is chayav kares. Why? says if you do malacha like on Shabbos, or you eat and drink, then you get kares. And if you say that if you don't bathe, that's considered inu nefesh. So if you do the opposite of that, which is loisuna, should be chayiv kares. You have to figure out the pasuk as is. You should afflict on yourselves. Milsa the yoda, the yediah inu yahashto. It's something that is known to have pain right now. If you don't eat today, what happens? It's very painful. Even one day. You're not going to know of any pain if you went one day without showering. Unless you mamish, like, one of those mfunakim should be mfunakim. But typically speaking, it's not inu. However, it's in the future. Le'anois nafesh means in the future you're going to have pain and affliction. But the inu is something that's going to bring you to inu. The reason why the husband, according to Chachamim, even though right now it's not an inu, because you can go one day without bathing, but it's going to bring her to inu. That's something they can do. Dvarim shebein. I forgot to mention somewhere in the middle of the sugya, it was on Amud Aleph, where it's the Ran just points out that it's not even one day, even according to Rabbi Yossi, because the way it works is that whatever Chacham say was the inu nefesh, according to Rabbi Yossi, it turns into a dvarim shebein levena. This is inu nefesh. It's not inu nefesh, but it's dvarim shebein. One day of not bathing, I'm just throwing it out there. If you don't understand what I'm saying, I'm sorry. One day of not bathing is not even dvarim shebein levena. It's such a low level. It's nothing. You have inu nefesh, you have dvarim shebein levena. It's between the husband and wife, but so she didn't bathe for one day. It's not something that the husband can say, well, it bothers me. It doesn't bother. It's only one day. Says the Gemara. I guess we could at least start the sugya. V'rami the Rabbi Yosef, the Rabbi Yosef, we have a contradiction with Rabbi Yosef. Mayin shel b'nei Yair. Here we have a river. I have to apologize to Yoshi. I ruined his drawing a little bit because I made that vertical river. You see that fat line on the bottom? Let's see if I could get a laser. Oh, here. Horizontal. Sorry, horizontal. What did I say? Vertical? It's vertical, yeah. Close. But just very, very far. This is mine. I just added this. Because when I woke up this morning and this art, he worked, I don't know, till what time. It wasn't like to my liking. I wanted to show that the river goes from city to city, and he only had it the horizontal, not the vertical. So I mean the vertical, not the horizontal. Fine. So over here, basically what we're seeing here is that the source of this water starts over here in this city. And it goes this way, and it splits off, and it goes to this city and this city. What?
There's a mouse running through the river.
This the red guy? Fine. So now, if you have, who wins over here? These guys want to drink. The guys on the right want to drink where the water, that's the water source. The guys on the left want to drink. Who wins? The guys on the right. Why? The Torah tells us, if you could live, then you have to support your brother. It doesn't mean you have to die for your brother. You have water, you could drink it by yourself. What about if you have animals? They say animals? Yeah. Your animals come first. What about laundry, doing your laundry? You come first. But here's the very interesting shayla. What if it's your laundry versus their drinking? So according to Tanakama, I guess everybody here in this room would say, well, let them drink. Why do you have to do your laundry? But says Rabbi Yossi, no. Check this out. Your laundry, since it's your water source, comes before their drinking. Let them die. Unbelievable. So let's see the Gemara inside. But it's not literally. We're going to see that then the sugya, because Rabbi Yossi holds, he holds that not doing your laundry is like dying. It makes you mishuga. Imagine wearing smelly, think about the smelliest clothes you've ever smelled. You were once on a bus and you took a whiff of somebody's smelly clothes. That times 10 because it's his entire life. Whatever. So it makes you nuts. You should go crazy, says the Gemara. And Memela, it's your life against his life. His drinking is like you not doing laundry. Just to be mazber, so you don't think we're talking about Rishayim over here. So what's the shayla here? Water, my drinking against your drinking, it's my source of water. I come before you. Now I have the water source and I have animals. My animals tip the scale in my favor. I come first. Again, I want to do laundry in the water. You want to do laundry. I have the water source. We win the laundry battle. But what about Chaya Acherim? Their drinking versus Ukvisasan and my laundry. Chaya Acherim koydem l'kvisasan. They come first. It makes a lot of sense. But here's the contradiction. Rabbi Yossi says that it's not such a big deal if you don't take a shower for your whole life. And all of a sudden he says, Rabbi Yossi Omer, Kvisasan koydemis l'chaya acherim. Rabbi Yossi says, your laundry is if you don't do laundry, it's terrible inui. So you come even before they're drinking water. You just said that according to Rabbi Yossi, you could go your entire life without a shower. It's not a big deal. Your shower, your body, forget your clothes, your body. Or Rabbi Yossi ish batzar. Gufkulo like kolchkein. Hashta kvisa Rabbi Yossi ish batzar. If laundry, Rabbi Yossi says, it's such a terrible tsar, you come before the other guy's drinking, so his own body. Amriyin, says Gemara, not doing laundry is worse than not bathing your entire body. The Amar Shmuel, if you have like very, what do they call those, the dreadlocks, you didn't comb your hair in a long time, Masi Lidei Avira could bring to blindness. So the Rosh brings over in the Gemara Babasha Daf Zayin says that 2 hairs that come out of one pore, it brings to blindness. In other words, the hair and eyesight have some sort of connection. The Gufa, if you have some sort of smelly body, Masi Lidei Shichne V'Chayivi, will bring till it boils. Oh, sorry. And this is the important thing that I missed out. If you don't wash your clothes, Masilidei Shamu Misa, it brings to dementia, says the art scroll. Because it brings to Shigayin. Shigayin, there's no way out of being crazy. Crazy is like dying. But just not bathing is not as bad. Why? You'll get some boils. Could you get out of boils? Yes. Could you get out of craziness? Not. Why not? The pshat is that when a person is crazy, he can't even daven. He thinks he's okay. He thinks the whole world is crazy. He's normal. He's not going to daven for himself to be normal. A person that has boils could daven, can get out of it. And Memela, according to Rabbi Yossi, not washing your clothes is actually worse than not bathing. Rabbi Yossi, have a Gevaldik Shabbos. Have a wonderful day. See you on Motsei Shabbos at 8 o'clock. Let's do 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock.